I am a critic, I am a critic, I am a critic, I am a critic, I am a critic.
What's up, opinionators? I am the I Am a Critic, and it is time for me to review what's new for you. So, Disney's live adaptation of The Jungle Book. So, just for everyone who hasn't seen The Jungle Book yet, do not worry, this is a spoiler-free review. We are all friends here. So, The Jungle Book is a live-action retelling of the classic story, directed by Jon Favreau, starring Ben Kingsley, Bill Murray, Idris Elba, Scarlett Johansson, and a bunch of other very, very well-known people. And first off, I do have to say, when I first heard about this movie, I was skeptical as hell. I had absolutely no interest in seeing a live-action remake of a movie I'd already seen, because that would essentially, in my mind anyway, be paying to see a movie that I've already seen. But wow, I have a lot of crow to eat in this video. This film was fantastic. And of course, as always, we're going to start with the positives. First of all, the CG is the best CG I've ever seen. Bar none. The animals were all pretty much photorealistic, and even though they start talking during the film, it doesn't hinder the performance at all because you still believe that Mowgli is actually talking to a panther, actually talking to a bear, actually in the same presence as a tiger. You know, it's that kind of thing, and it feels real. And I have to say, it is the best special effects I've ever seen. This movie has absolutely set a brand new benchmark for what special effects can do and what they will be in the future. And another positive is the acting. The voice acting in this film and the acting of the kid playing Mowgli are all amazing. I think a lot of people will agree Bill Murray has not been his best in a long time. He's just kind of phoned it in for a lot of movies. And of course, we all long for the days when he was in Ghostbusters, when he was in Groundhog Day, when he was in Lost in Translation. And my friends, that day has arrived. Bill Murray is awesome as Baloo. This is up there with his career highs. Like, Bill Murray is on another level playing Baloo. There are so many great jokes, so much great acting, but also the voice is so well matched to the bear that I forgot it was Bill Murray. It's very touching to see the relationships between the characters, especially between Mowgli and his wolf pack, or between Mowgli and Bagheera, and especially Mowgli and Baloo. It's not a very long-lived relationship, but it's very genuine and it's very nicely captured. And Neil Sethi, the boy playing Mowgli, is fantastic in this movie. And I admit, yes, there were some points where I thought, child acting, it looks like he's misinterpreted the direction. But most of the time you have to remember, Neil Sethi is acting against green screen. He's acting against objects being held in front of him with, like, the character's face on it, just going, act, boy, act. Because he's the only live-action character in this film. All the rest of it is green screen and CGI, and even the forest is CGI, which, by the way, I totally forgot the special effects were that good. If you've seen the appendices on The Hobbit Unexpected Journey, you also know that Ian McKellen had a very hard time with green screen. So all these fantastic actors, you know, they can have difficulty with this kind of thing, but this boy makes it look easy. And to be honest, this new generation of actors is going to find it a lot easier because they're going to get a lot more work that requires it. And I really do believe that Neil Sethi has a future in acting. He's very good. But to be honest, the best character in this movie is definitely Shere Khan. Idris Elba makes him terrifying. There were quite a few points in this film where I was sitting there going, wow, this is not suitable for kids. Like, you know, there's some straight up murder in this film. And I won't say why, or how, or who, but wow, it makes Shere Khan that much more terrifying. And there's also a scene where Shere Khan is making reference to a cuckoo bird, and I won't say why, but when you see it, you'll know why I'm pointing it out. It's a scary scene. And everything about Shere Khan is very well realised, especially with his character, because in the original animated movie, you probably remember Shere Khan just kind of shows up and he wants to kill Mowgli for reason. We know he hates man, but it's never established why. But here it's actually established very well. They give him a very good backstory, they give him plenty of reasons to hate Mowgli, and it does give Shere Khan a much scarier edge when you can see where he's coming from. And also, I do have to say, the pacing of this movie is absolutely brilliant. It's very action-packed, and there were quite a lot of scenes that kind of tie into other Disney movies. Like, there is, I'll admit, and I think a lot of critics have said this, there's a stampede scene that is so reminiscent of The Lion King that you kind of have to point it out. But I have no reason to complain because it was an excellent scene and it was very well placed in the movie with a lot of good reasoning behind it. And to be honest, there's only really one negative that I have about this film. There are two songs from the original animated movie that make it into this adaptation, and I think the film would have been better without them. I mean, Bare Necessities is kind of okay. I mean, they kind of establish that this is just a song that Baloo sings to himself, and he sings it to himself earlier in the movie before we get the proper version. It felt more like a life lesson than a song. It felt like it was a song that Baloo had taught himself and he wanted to teach Mowgli. So when they're singing it together, it kind of feels more like just banter between the two. But then the second song is the scene with King Louie, where King Louie starts singing I Want to Be Like You. And then it very suddenly bursts into musical number mode, and it feels like a musical number, which totally offsets it from the rest of the movie, and I didn't like it. I was sitting there going, this is awkward because it doesn't work. But I do have to say, Christopher Walken is amazing as King Louie. And I will totally admit, when I saw the Super Bowl teaser trailer for Jungle Book, I was completely and utterly hateful of what I was seeing with Christopher Walken. But when I saw him in the movie with context, he was actually very good. And yeah, when he breaks into song, it totally offsets the entire scene, but when he's going on to proper, like, I want Mowgli to stay here and I'm not going to let him leave, he's a scary character, and Christopher Walken plays him very well. And I'm also going to say, speaking of scary characters, there are a number of jump scares in this film. They're not like proper horror, you know, we are doing this with the intent of making you go, ah, heart attack. You know, there are scenes that when they happen you go, Jesus Christ. Like, you know, that kind of feeling. And King Louie has one of them, and Shere Khan has a dozen of them. But it works really well, and it does establish that these characters are not to be messed with. But yes, overall the musical numbers did kind of jar it, and they did lower my grades slightly. But to be honest, that's it. All the rest of this movie I loved. I absolutely loved watching it in cinema. I would happily go and see it again, and I have absolutely no problem in saying this is the best Jungle Book adaptation out there. Sorry to all you classic Disney fans, but if you really do watch the animated movie, it's pretty boring. It's a couple of good songs and that's it. But this movie has pace, it has excitement, as well as a couple of songs, even though I didn't like them that much. But it has great character, great relationships, and it just really establishes that Mowgli is a character to root for, to like, and then the animals around him that he calls family, you kind of feel like they are a family, and it's very well realised, and the direction from Jon Favreau is beautiful. It's one of the best looking films out there with the best CGI I've ever seen, and despite a couple of hiccups with the musical numbers, I do have to say, in my opinion, The Jungle Book gets a 9.5 out of 10. So guys, that was my review of The Jungle Book, but of course those were just my opinions. You're the opinionators. Please put your opinions down in the comment section below. What did you think of The Jungle Book? What were your favourite bits, least favourite bits, and what grade would you give it? Whatever you think, put it down below. And of course, if you like what you've seen here and you like my review, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And if you didn't like the review, well, that's your opinion too. I'm the IMO Critic, and I'll be back again with something else new for you. And I'll see you later.